This is New Day and you are watching TV3. This morning we want to look at the state of mental health here in Ghana, and we are looking at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital specifically. So we'll just show you a short clip. We'll come back into the studios and we'll have a very interesting discussion. So stick and stay with us.
Facilities in the country have over the years been plagued with inadequate funding. In July this year, an embargo was placed on new admissions at the outpatient department of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. The legislative instrument on mental health will, among other things, provide funds to run the facilities. The mental health law will ensure the establishment of a health fund that will be fed through levies to be determined by the Ministry of Finance.
The airline will ensure we have money, a self-sustaining funding mechanism, levy. So once we have the levy through taxation of some sort, either part of existing taxes or a new taxation, the Parliament and Ministry of Finance will decide. Once you have that one, then we are sure that every month money is coming into the kitty and you'll be able to use it to fund services.
The director of the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Pinamam Apau, is worried about the absence of psychological first aid for mental health patients in the country.
The principle of first aid is that any of us may need to step in to help when someone going through a psychological or mental distress needs it, and to help them seek professional help if there is the need to do so. All of us may need to build up our confidence to do this with the people who are close to us.
Executive Director of Christian Health Association of Ghana, Kwame Yeboah, called for equitable, sustainable and efficient funding of mental health care in the country. The World Mental Health Week seeks to raise awareness and mobilize support for mentally ill persons.
All right, I'm sure you are now convinced that indeed mental health is a very important part of our health system. And to help me do the discussion in the studio this morning, I've been joined by the medical director at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Dr. Pinamam Apau. Welcome to New Day.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine, and how are you?
Very well, thank you very much. So over the few months, we've heard stories about issues to do with funding with regards to running the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. First of all, we want you to tell us what is the present state of affairs with regards to the debts that the Accra Psychiatric Hospital is bedeviled with.
Thank you, and let me say good morning to your viewers. I think in July, you heard us on various platforms talking about our debt. As of July, we owed our suppliers about 4.1 million cedis. But if you would remember, we had the Minister for Health coming to visit our facility. And whilst he was there, he promised to release 1.5 million Ghana cedis for the 3 psychiatric hospitals. And so when he did that, we received 521,000 Ghana cedis. And that money was supposed to go to pay part of our debt. So we used that money to pay part of our debt. So currently we owe about 3.7 million Ghana cedis. Yeah. But as we sit here now, our problem is not even with the debt. Okay, because when we paid that money, the suppliers did not come back to supply us. So our major issue now is money to run the hospital, the day-to-day operations of the hospital, and that is what we are dealing with now.
So with running the day-to-day activities in the hospital, will it still have to be from that amount of money that has to be paid to defray your debts? Because obviously there's a large chunk of that money left. Is it a contributing factor to the way things are going at the moment?
It is a contributory factor in that if we had paid the debts, then yes, the suppliers would come in and then at least supply us some of our needs. But the day-to-day running of the hospital does not come from that money. It means that we need another, if it's subvention or whatever it is, to run the hospital. And as of now, we need at least 6,000 cedis to run the hospital. That is taking care of medications, feeding the patients, buying consumables like gloves, stationery that we use in the hospital and so on. So we need at least 6,000 Ghana cedis.
So is that daily or monthly? Or
daily.
You need 6,000 Ghana cedis daily to run the hospital and keep it going. At least 6,000 Ghana cedis to run the hospital.
Because we use the minimum amount that we think would be fair.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So at the moment, how are you managing the situation? Obviously, it appears you may not have that 6,000 cedis as we speak, but from day to day, what are the strategies the hospital has put in place to ensure that at least the mental health of the people of Ghana who report to the hospitals are sorted out?
It's been very difficult for us. Again, I'll go back to July. I think when we had that acute shortage of food, we came out on various platforms and we solicited for help. And so I can say that since July, we've been running the hospital basically on donations that we've received from individuals, donations that we've received from organizations in our ministry, and other people. And it's been difficult. Like I'm saying, that's why I think you heard us again quite recently talking about closing down the outpatients and so on, because we are grateful for all the donations that we receive, but sometimes I think it's easier for people who bring us donations to bring us things like rice and oil. Okay, but when we're feeding the patients, at least we will need some form of sauce to add to the rice that is brought. So the tomatoes, the onions, the fish that we might use, the hospital needs to still find money to go out there and buy. So it still drains us. Currently, as I said here, we don't have medications at the hospital. Again, the hospital needs to find money to buy medications for the patients on our wards, because we can't just look on for the patients to not have medications. Quite recently, I think on Friday, I was in my office when I was called to the ward. One patient had attacked one nurse, slapped the nurse, scratched the nurse, and all that. These are various issues that we are facing at the hospital, and if we don't manage that, as my CEO says, we are sitting on a time bomb, and this is going to explode in our faces.
I see a very sad situation, and we hope that through this platform you get others to also come in to provide support, because we really need support for the psychiatric hospital. Now let's talk about the open day. We hear there's an open day. What do you intend to achieve with the open day?
The open day is part of our Mental Health Week celebrations. I guess from the video you played, remember that on Monday we did our press launch. Yesterday we had a public lecture at the British Council from 6 to 8 p.m, still educating the public on mental health. Today we want to open up our facilities to the general public. People have various perceptions of the psychiatric hospital. I've had friends tell me that, look, we pass in front of your hospital each and every day, but we don't have the courage to come in. And actually, I've heard one story from one of your colleagues telling us that I think she came in there and one of the patients, was behind her and making, so she says she's vowed not to come there again. But we want to disabuse people of these perceptions. The psychiatric hospital is a friendly place to be in. We want them to visit the place, see the good work that the staff are doing in there, see our facility in general, see some of our challenges, and then learn something. We'll tell you about the services that we give. We will educate you about mental illnesses in general and so on. So we want people to come in there and experience mental health. Actually, people who come there always leave with an experience. The Minister for Health came there and he said, I'm surprised, this place is so neat, even though you continue complaining about logistics and so on, this place is so neat. And then as he left, he said, I am sad because I have seen what is in here. The second lady, Her Excellency Mrs. Matilda Emisa, was there. She went through the facility, and again, because she was there firsthand, they experienced it. She went, and guess what? before the open day, she said, I want to paint your hospital for you. You know, we want the place to be friendly. So she painted she said she would paint the walls. We said, Her Excellency, if you paint the walls and leave the compound of the facility, there will be a sharp contrast. So she painted some. And today it would interest the public to know that she is coming in there. She's coming there to give us the support. She's been extraordinary, and we want to say thank you, not only to her, but all the people who are supporting us. So today, please come to Accra Psychiatric Hospital. Not just Accra Psychiatric Hospital, Pantan is opening up, Ankafol is opening up. So people should just go in there and experience mental health firsthand.
That's very, very, very good. Now, beyond the open day, when people want to come in to provide support, how can they do that?
Well, I can talk for Accra Psychiatric Hospital or the Mental Health Authority. The Mental Health Authority is, they have their offices at East Legon. So if someone wants to help, they can always contact them there. For Accra Psychiatric Hospital, we have a PR team in place who are in charge of these supports and donations. They also go out to seek for support for us. So we just link you to them. They will tell you all the things that we need and how you can go about supporting the hospital. Or you can even contact me. I'm always available to listen and to receive whatever help we can get.
Great. Doc, the whole Ghana is listening and watching to this very important interview. We want you to speak to the people of Ghana. If people want to come and support corporate organizations, NGOs, and individuals, what are the things you would encourage them to come with? Because at the moment, we need to look at the things that are important before we look at the other things. So what will be your appeal to the corporate world? What will be your appeal to NGOs and other bodies who are interested in providing support to the psychiatric hospital?
Thank you. I would want to remind the whole of Ghanaians that sometimes we think that mental illness is far away from us. It's for the poor people, it's for the other people, but it's part of our everyday life. And we are all vulnerable to and to having mental illness. And therefore, we all need to come on board to support mental health in general. One of our major challenges is funding. Not just the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, but the mental health care in Ghana in general. And that's why I would, our CEO was asking for the LI to be passed. Like he said, within the Act, we have the Mental Health Fund. And therefore, if the LI is passed, it ensures that some levies go into the fund, and therefore, mental health care would be funded from this fund. And therefore, we would ask for corporate Ghana, civil society, every individual to join in the campaign to get this LI passed. In the meantime, yes, we still need a facility. We would call on people. You can adopt wards at the Accra Psychiatric Hospital, refurbish the place for us, and also come in from time to time to just give to the patients. Again, we are still looking for our food. We are still looking for detergents. We're looking for anything. So just contact it. Again, if you would permit me.
Go ahead.
We thought that instead of always coming out there to ask for food, to ask for monies and so on, the management of the hospital, we sat down and we thought that if we could put together some projects, okay, that would generate some revenue for the hospital, then it would help support in times of need. So we thought about projects like if we could have a mortuary, for instance, and open it to the public, then we could generate some revenue, yes, from there. We have, I said, now we don't have a staff canteen. We're thinking that if we could build a staff canteen, then we can again open it up to the public. The revenue that comes in would go to fund some of these things. So we actually have a project document put together that will be going out. And so we will plead again to corporate Ghana and individuals, everybody, that when we come to your doors, please help us to put together these projects so that we don't always come on air begging and asking for food and so on.
All right. So before you go, we want you to speak to us again. You know, very often people don't take mental health issues personally, because we just look out for the malaria, the typhoid, the cholera, and then all that. But why is it important that as individuals we need to place a premium on our mental health?
Currently, Accra Psychiatric Hospital has embarked on this campaign. You find that on social media. We put workers there with quotes. And one of the quotes that caught my attention from one of my staff is that if we have health, health in general, we don't have mental health, it's like owning a Ferrari without an engine. Interesting. Yes. So we need to... That's how important mental health is. Yeah. You can't say you are well when you're physically well, when maybe you're not relating well to people. When you come to work, you're always quarreling with people, or you are withdrawn, or, when you have issues, it can be. So mental health is actually part of our everyday life. So we need to support it. And if you would, again, permit me.
Go ahead.
I would want to say a very big thank you to the staff of Accra Psychiatric Hospital. It's been a long journey. It's been a long journey of improvising and, trying to make ends meet. But I have wonderful people in the hospital, and I can see that the hospital is still running because of the staff that I have in the hospital. They would do anything for the hospital, and I would want to use this platform to say hello to them and to say thank you to them and to wish them a happy open day, if I say anything like that.
Very nice, very, very nice. And then maybe before you go, just so that we understand, prevention, they say, is better than cure. Just give us about 2 tips that we can always put in place to ensure that we don't get to the state where we may have to be admitted at a psychiatric hospital, because obviously some of the jobs people do are very stressful. My director was just telling me that, yes, that's what this is our job, always stress-laden and all that. But what are some basic tips anybody can put in place to ensure that you are always healthy when it comes to mental health?
One thing that I have realized, and I even feel culprit, is that Kenyans would usually not take a leave.
Please stress on that again.
It's very important. I've not been on leave for like 2 years myself, but it's very important that you take a leave. When you are given the leave, you go away and de-stress. It's a time for yourself to recoup and to come back to work. We think that we can bulldoze our way through, but in reality, our productivity goes down if we don't de-stress, right? And then we should also learn to support one another. Learn to listen. As Ghanaians, we are always talking
all the time. Exactly. Social media, everywhere.
Exactly, but we don't listen, and we have to develop the art of listening to people, because it's not nice when you're talking to someone and the person appears to be distracted and so on. We don't really listen to people's issues, and so by the time we see people, they're like, oh, they said it. Or when someone, let's say, commits suicide, they said,
we saw the sign.
We saw the sign.
That couldn't take any action because we're not paying attention.
Exactly. So we should learn to listen and to pay, like you said, to pay attention to one another.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Pinaman Apau. We are very happy you came to speak with us, and we are sure that with the coverage TV3 brings, you get a lot of people coming in, organizations coming in to lend the support to the Accra Psychiatric Hospital. We wish you a very happy open day.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.